Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh dear.
So, this video is basically us kind of answering questions, kind of preempting really, questions that we expect to be asked or that we would ask about other people that have done similar stuff to us. And I guess the first one that would pop up would be...
Oh, I'm interested what your first question is actually. Go on.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I thought it would be obvious. Well, okay, so why Portugal?
Oh, no, that wasn't mine.
Okay. So, do you want to answer?
Why not? No. We just were coming on holiday here, weren't we? Twice a year. I'm not entirely sure exactly what year it was we decided we were going to move here, but we were just sat one afternoon. You'd been at work. It was Saturday afternoon, and we both just were like, this is just a rat race, and we're not happy work-wise, were we? We just felt like all we were doing was working. Michael worked Saturday, so Sunday was our only day off, and obviously on a Sunday you're then thinking about Monday. I wanted to go freelance again. I was a copywriter. I wanted to go freelance again, so I started looking at that, and we both just said, look, if I get freelance, then we can live anywhere, work anywhere. So let's start that ball rolling, and we're moving to Portugal, and we just decided we were moving here. I don't really think there was that much more to it, was there? It wasn't a really hugely planned out thing.
I mean, we were first introduced to Portugal by my mum, weren't we? We'd only been, it was the same first year we got together. We'd been together 5-6 months, and we was thinking about a holiday. And my mum sort of said, well, why not Portugal? They've been coming here for several years, in the Algarve, in the sort of Silvish, Monchique region of the Algarve. And my mum said, I think you'll like it. It's quiet, it's out of the way, it's got its own pool. And we went and we loved it, didn't we? You know, out of the way, very well, you know, very remote really. So it's perfect for us. And then yeah, you know, Becky's told you the rest really. After a few years, it's just like, well, why can't we do this? You know.
It wasn't just the post-holiday blues, was it? It was more than that. I think there was just a... I don't know, it's hard to describe. I think people expect it to kind of be this like light bulb moment. I don't think it really was. It was, and there wasn't a huge amount of planning on our side either, or thinking about it, I don't think. We obviously had to get to where I was working freelance, and we needed to find a house, we needed to be able to get a mortgage here, which is just another story, but when people say, oh, you know, did you do all this research? No, we didn't really. We're not probably a good advert for moving abroad, but we just did it, didn't we?
There was no, there was no planning at all.
Apart from buying a house, selling our stuff in England, figuring out how, we didn't have either of these, he's both Portuguese. We had Tilly the cat, how to get her here, what we needed to do for that, and that was about it really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was why Portugal.
Yeah.
Just always felt at home here, haven't we?
The more times that we came here, each time became harder to sort of pack up and go, which I guess a lot of people feel about holidays and stuff. But we just felt, you know, real sort of strong connection with it, didn't we? And once we decided it's what we wanted, we kind of moved on it pretty quickly.
It's quite fun. I do remember actually though saying to people, we're moving to Portugal, and obviously at this point we're both still employed, and I don't think either of us would probably be the kind of people to move abroad, were we, before we decided to, you know, we were kind of we're not really...
Home birds.
Oh, they're home bots. Yeah.
No, it's what I said. Home birds.
Is that not, anyway. yeah, it wasn't ever anything I thought I'd do. But I remember telling some people, and you can see them like, oh right, yeah, you're gonna live abroad, wasn't it? You could see it in some people's faces. Yeah, okay, because a lot of people will say, I'd love to live abroad, when they don't do it, do they? But those that knew us and close friends and family were like, you're going to do this. So we did. And the rest, they say, is history.
It's history. Obviously, I said that we lived in the Algarve to start with, which we did, and we now live in Central Portugal. We live quite close to a really beautiful town called Tomar, and another small town called Figueira dos Vinhos, which again is very beautiful.
Sad.
Yeah, just about. I've only had a couple of these, so we're alright. Very different to the Algarve, so I suppose a follow-on question would be, well, why move from the Algarve to Central Portugal? Which is a fair question. We recently had a meal with some friends, and we were introduced to a couple that we'd not met before, and they asked the same question, but it was like, why move from the Algarve?
What have you done that for?
And yeah, we've got to kind of answer this diplomatically, really. The Algarve's got a lot going for it, but obviously there's a lot of people there, there's a lot of tourism. So the mainstay of expats in Portugal is in the Algarve. And in the end, we just decided we wanted to get to an area, a region that was, predominantly Portuguese. So we started looking. We'd had 3 years in the Algarve, more or less. We had 3 years in total. We started looking probably 2.5 years after we moved there. And we looked up in this region.
Well, no, I think initially we started saying, oh, we'll have 1 day a week exploring somewhere north. We did all the Alentejo, didn't we? And there's some absolutely stunning areas, but it is very, I don't like the word barren's not very nice, and that's not what I mean, but it's very sparse. There's, you drive, then you get to a really nice town with a hill on it, and we're just too far away from things and too far in between things is what I'm trying to say. And obviously then it was nearly 3 hours to get to Lisbon, and by the time you got to that sort of level in Évora was when we thought, this is starting to get like what we kind of like, isn't it? But obviously that was getting too far for us to do in a day.
In a day, the sort of day trips out to explore places, 2.5 to 3 hours is enough one way. In the end, we took a trip. We had 3 nights.
No, the first time we did a 1-night stay near Castanheira de Pera.
Yeah. We'll put the names of these places on the screen because it's
pronunciation. Looked at a few houses there, and one was particularly nice, wasn't it? Blue shutters.
Yes.
But yeah, so we explored a little bit of that area. Came back down, hadn't got our house on the market, so blue shutters didn't really work out, but then we did 3 nights and we stayed near Marvão, and that sort of area. But we came across, funnily enough, unbeknownst to us really, until we moved here, towards Tomar area, didn't we? Started exploring this area. And then we went back home after that trip, and we were just like, this is just, it's too overwhelming to get up here and book all these viewings, and you needed to be within the driving distance of where we wanted to be able to view things, didn't you? And explore and spend time in the areas, and we had no idea where we wanted to be, so it was all a bit, it was hard work.
It was. We knew nothing about the areas up here at all, really. We'd driven through 1 or 2 places, very briefly. So, cut a long story short, we sold our house in the Algarve and we rented a house just on the outskirts of Tomar. And it was just purely by chance that it was there. We were getting desperate to find somewhere as our
Very
place
limited.
sold very quickly.
We were limited as well,
Oh.
obviously, because it was short notice, and a lot of the rentals here are like you have to sign up for a year, 2 years, and they don't like pets in
Pets.
a lot of cases. So we were really limited, and we managed to find somewhere for 3 months with an ongoing possibility
Yeah.
that would accept the 2 fluffs. So it was just by chance that we ended up near Tomar.
Yes. We've been there
Once.
once before. No, we've been there twice because the first time we dropped
Yeah, we walked around
yeah,
half,
the
yeah,
first
no, that's
time
true.
we called, we literally went in, we were passing, and I needed to drop off a UPS parcel at a drop-off point, and we ended up on the side of the town, which is newer, kind of concrete city, and we thought, this isn't very nice.
Not for us.
We didn't need to stop any longer, so we dropped the parcel off and went. And the second time, we were going into Tamar to find somewhere to eat, weren't we? I think we'd
We'd
been
been to
viewing.
look at a viewing near where we ended up living.
Yeah, and we ended up in the main square in Tamar, and we were just blown away by Tamar. It's just stunning. And as I said, it was purely coincidental that we got the rental.
Fate, might say.
Fate, yeah, only a few kilometres away. And being in and around this area, spending time in and around Tamar, we decided that this was where we wanted to be. You know, within daily, travelling distance of Tamar to have lunch and stuff like that. And shortly after we moved into the rental, we saw a little recently restored stone house. Went to view it. Went off, had lunch, and I just said to Becky, I said, we need to buy it. You know, it's.
I didn't want to. I was forced into it.
Yeah. No, it was just
right, wasn't it?
It was just nicely restored. It was the kind of place that we like, and it was ready to go. They were at sort of second fix stage, third fix, not far off finishing it. So we bought that. We offered them full price, bought it, and that was that.
This was, let's put dates to this. So that was July 2022.
Yeah, we moved in
We bought that house.
end of July 2022, and shortly after that, when would it be? I don't know. Christmas
Not long.
time.
I don't even know. I don't even think it was that
No.
long.
Yeah, a few months after moving in, we kind of disclosed to each other one day that we'd both been back on Idealista looking at properties for renovation. The house was really nice that we were in, but it was done. I don't know. It just there was sort of too many things. We could have lived in it. We could have lived in it for years happily, but
We hadn't, someone else had renovated it, so the bathrooms were quite modern, weren't they?
yeah,
Certain
everything.
things, you know, when in hindsight, it was beautiful, but it was done. There wasn't anything for us to do. We could have obviously ripped the bathrooms out, but that would just be ridiculous when they're brand new. And I think as well for me, one of the biggest things in Montjuic, we lived in on a hill in a little farmhouse. We had a farm opposite us, but it was very, very quiet. And this house that we were living in now, the stone house, was part of a hamlet, you'd call it, wouldn't you? It was part of a bigger village, but we were separate with about 5 houses. One of which was a holiday home where they came twice a year. One, our neighbour moved in, Alison, a bit later, and then some Portuguese families, wasn't it? And so it was, you'd say very quiet, but I think for us, we realised we actually needed to be a bit further away from
Other people.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, it sounds awful.
No disrespect to anybody,
No,
but
no, I think we just, yeah, I think we needed to be a bit more remote again, but not, we don't want to be cut off. I think that's getting the balance, isn't it, really?
yeah.
Yeah, so there were a few things, and I suppose it's not until you live somewhere that you really realise. And we've lived in how many houses? And we've been together 10 years, and we've lived in
9
houses. But everyone's like, so do you think this one's your forever home? I'm like, well, it's got to be, you know, home for a while, because we've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I think people put so much emphasis though on a forever home, don't they? I think it's like, oh, this is our forever home. But you change, things change.
Yeah. The environment changes
Yeah.
around you. You know, you
never know,
can't
do you?
control.
So we're not really those kind of people where we're like, yeah, this is it. Yeah, we absolutely love it here, and I think this is, we've talked a lot about since we've lived here, haven't we, about how it ticks so many boxes for us. But yeah, I mean, we might renovate it and we might live here for a bit and then be like, we want to downsize. You don't know. So the whole forever home isn't for us, but that's kind of how, oh, no, it's not really discussed how we got to this house as such. So we've both been looking.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
You went off on a tangent there. Yeah.
I'll probably have just deleted all of what I've said in the editing process.
Yeah, probably so. So
yeah.
You may never hear that. Yeah, so in terms of buying this place and seeing this place, Becky had seen it, I'd not seen it, and
Wasn't really sure whether to show Michael. It was one of those things where I looked at the listing, flicked through the pictures, and was just a bit like,
curious.
this is interesting, but it's not, you know, when you see certain things, you know, you're like, wow, this is amazing, we've got to go and look at this. But yeah, I was like, do I even show him? He's probably just going to go, Becky, why are you showing me this? But I showed you.
No, the thing with a lot of the Portuguese estate agencies, quite often the photographs aren't the best. I mean, sometimes they're awful, aren't they? You know, it doesn't give you any concept of what the, you know, any idea of what the building is even.
I've seen some absolute
There might be
horror
just
shows.
one photograph of a kitchen sink, and they're saying 150,000.
Or an unmade bed.
Unmade,
Or,
you know,
yeah, really.
it's very bizarre. Now the photos of this were nothing like that, but it was one of those that we'd been to look at another house somewhere. We've been out for the day.
Walk.
Oh, we'd taken out for a walk somewhere. So,
Take two. Well, not
well,
take two.
kind of
but-
part two. We've got an admission to make. We got halfway through last night and the battery died on the camera. My fault entirely. The other two batteries weren't charged. So we've had to unfortunately come over here again, have another bottle of wine and some crisps. You know, it's a hard life, but somebody's got to do it.
We put the sink clothes on there.
Yeah.
We have showered,
Should we try and get away with it? But, no, we couldn't do it to you.
no.
So anyway, we think we got to the point where we'd called by this house one day. We'd been out with Alf, I think, somewhere, walking. So we called by just to have a look at it, really. Yeah, I parked up. You stayed in the car, didn't you? And there was nobody about, so I quickly walked around the whole place, jumped back in the car and just said, yeah, that's really interesting. That's got a lot, you know, a lot about it. So we arranged a viewing, had two or three viewings, didn't we? And Yeah, because we'd sold our house, hadn't we?
No.
Or no?
When we wanted to buy this. We agreed to buy this because here in Portugal you sign a promissory contract, and you can sort of specify a date on when you want to complete the sale. So you pay off, it's often 10% deposit, and then you'll say we'll complete on such and such a date, and it can be like 6 months. So that's what we did, because we were quite hopeful that our house would sell in that time. So yeah, so we offered on this. There wasn't really any negotiating, was there? I think.
No, he wanted what he wanted for it.
I think they'd already dropped it 10,000 when they put it back on the market. So I think they put it on the market initially. They didn't have an energy certificate, which is hilarious, really, when you look at the place, that it needs an energy certificate. But it's all legal. It's a legal requirement. I think it is in most places now. So it got put back on, and they dropped it by 10,000 when they put it back on, I think. So he wasn't going to negotiate any further, and we were happy with the price. Are we going to share the price? That was when last night Michael said the burning question everyone will have. Mine was, how much have you paid for the house? I think people will want to know that. I always want to know that.
Yeah.
When we start watching something, I'm like, how much have you paid?
Yeah, so it was €80,000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which, I suppose at the time, were around about £70,000, a little bit under. Shortly after we agreed to buy it, the same agent that was selling this was an English lady, and we asked her if she would look at our house, give us a price and one thing and another, because we thought, well, if we can buy and sell with the same agent, it's going to make things really easy.
Especially knowing that we really needed to sell our house to be able to buy this.
Yeah, it would kind of give her an incentive to, to get on with it and get it sold. So we sold through her. She came round, gave us a price, and we went back and forth a bit. Between us, we got to a price that we were happy with. It went on the market very quickly.
Yeah, they came and did the photographs and a video.
The drone.
And I think it was a Monday, and I thought I'd probably be online on the Friday. I was online that day, and so we were like, oh my god, panic stations.
It's for sale.
Oh.
And I think the following day we got a phone call to say she'd going to have a viewing a couple of days later, and that was all we had. Some people came round who were friends of the people that wanted to buy it, that were Belgian, and they were in Belgium at the time. So they did a tour, video tour, Skype, whatever it is. They made an offer back end of that day.
I think on the Friday.
Yeah.
We went back.
Yeah.
Didn't we counted? They accepted, and that was it.
Yeah. So it was done very quickly.
Nuts.
They paid the deposit very quickly. The only niggling part was going to be that, like the crossover of us completing on this and them completing on ours, and then where we were going to live. After that was all done, because this simply wasn't habitable. And during the kind of back and forth and talking with the Belgian people, they actually, though they paid for it, didn't they?
Yeah, they put the deposit down, and we agreed. Was it the beginning of May? Something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. To complete, and we were like, well, we'll probably just have to. We were discussing all different ideas: caravans, tents,
Cabins and stuff. Yeah.
And so we were like, we'll have to sort that out. And then when they signed the promissory, I think they then said that they would complete at the beginning of July, and we were like, oh, we were a month further, sooner. And they were like, oh no, that's fine, but they could only get the time off work to come over and physically sign and complete in July. So they gave us the money to buy this.
That's right. Yeah.
when we said, I think it was end of May then, wasn't it? Not
Yeah.
end of May. So we could complete and buy this, but
That's right.
stay in our house until the beginning of July.
When we completed on that.
Completed.
Yeah.
So they were amazing, absolutely fantastic.
You know, they gave us the difference between the deposit and the price of this as well, so we could get this bought and signed and sealed. And in addition, that then gave us about 5-6 weeks for me then to come over here and put together the lodge, so that come completion date we could just come straight here and move in, so to speak. The 6th of July was when we moved.
I think the most, well, I was going to say challenging, it wasn't a challenge.
No, nothing's a challenge for us.
Your challenge. No.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got in before me then.
No, the most tedious part was the actual signing of the contract to buy this place, because in Portugal you go to a notary and you all physically sign the deeds. But this was like an estate, a deceased estate, so there was the brother of the lady that had died, and then her three children.
Yeah, 4 parties in total.
4 parties, but all married, and in Portugal they have to sign. So 8 people, plus us 2, in this small office with the estate agent and the 2 notaries.
2 lawyers.
And our lawyer, their lawyer. No, they didn't have a lawyer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all crammed in there, and they have to write down every bank transaction. Don't know, like every bank transaction number, every cheque number, and they'd insisted on cheques. They wouldn't let me bank transfer the final amount either, which had annoyed me. But so we were going through all this rigmarole, and because there was 4 people, and half of it went to the brother, and then half of it was divided 3 ways. It doesn't divide. The figures never divided, did they? So there was €1.50. Was it about that?
€1.40.
€1.40. That wasn't accounted for because it didn't divide. And so that was outstanding. And so I had to bank transfer €1.40 while we were all in the notary. So it was all accounted for. And the brother, who'd been quite, I think he's very particular. Yeah, they all went on. He was like, oh, well, you know, that needs splitting. And everyone was just like, no. It was quite funny, really.
Take it.
Yeah, one of them took
I just wished I'd got €1.40 in my pocket at the time, because I just said, look, there you go. Well, I mean, to be fair, what's right's right.
Yeah,
those are the figures.
That was the thing.
That
It was
wasn't
just
an
the way
issue.
it was like.
But, you know, Becky was talking about the cheques, and that was another funny side of it. We had to go to the bank and get 4 bankers' cheques at a cost of about 25 euros each. So we said, well, if they want cheques, that they can pay for them. We could do a simple bank transfer, not cost anybody anything, but we didn't want that.
I think it's just the physical thing. It's very, very normal. It's that kind of, you're handing that money over on the day rather than it being, invisibly transferred online, I think.
The systems are very old-fashioned. You do an awful lot of stuff in person. But at the end of everything, we came out of the room and there was a few handshakes and bits and pieces and telling us good luck on one thing and another. And then I think it was maybe our solicitor or the estate agent reminded us about the money for the cheques. So they went over and sort of said to the 4 parties, oh, you need to hand over your money for the cheques. And we were stood there in this room. I felt like Oliver Twist with my hands like this. I didn't literally have my hands like this, but it felt like that. And they were coming over one by one and giving us 25 euros.
I know it was 26, wasn't it? Because they were all giving us.
Yeah, something like
25 euro.
And you felt like
and then
really
we then
bad.
felt really sort of, but at the end of the day,
It's, well, you know.
It was €100, and we didn't have to pay that.
No. So, anyway, that was.
Oh, that was that. So that's it really. That's the
Yeah.
buying process.
That's everything that brought us to here, really.
Yeah. So I suppose now the questions will be. I think if you've watched all the videos so far, you'll know that Michael's doing all the work. So there's no question of like who's, you know.
No, yeah. Well, the setup that we have is quite simple. Becky earns the money, and I just up until now, buying this place, I've kind of done.
Is that a funny one?
Yes, that's one reason.
Just explain. We're eating flavoured crisps, but Alfie gets allergies with flavoured crisps. So they're eating they're not spoiled.
They're eating the plain ones.
They're eating the plain ones. We're eating the truffle flavoured ones, which sounds very indulgent. Never seen them before. They're only €1.50.
Well,
They're
alright.
reasonable.
Yeah, they're not bad, are they?
I don't know what truffle tastes like.
Tasted worse.
So they might not taste like truffle,
No,
but
we've
they
never
taste good.
Yeah. Can't describe them really.
No, more flavour than I thought they'd have. Anyway, that just explained everyone's like, what are you doing there?
Yeah, so Becky works 30 to 35 hours a week. Obviously from home, from the old computer. And Becky will now explain what she does exactly, because it's a little bit.
I'm not going to bore everybody.
Oh, just a simple.
Yeah. I'm a journalist, a data journalist, I suppose. I work for a cybersecurity company, so I spend my days researching biometrics, ransomware, all that sort of jazz. I love my job. I really love my job. So yeah, that's what I do.
So Becky's saying she's not doing any work. That's, you know, obviously, so that's not strictly true. It's a 50-50 thing. And obviously on a weekend, when you've got your hours done, you obviously doing stuff in the house.
I need to
as
feel
well.
as though I'm doing a bit. I think even if it's just half a day doing something, I need to. Last weekend I didn't do anything physical. You know, I was editing videos and working.
Yeah,
and other
I mean
bits
the
and
video
bobs.
editing now, obviously, because everything's 100% new to us. We've not done this before, so obviously the editing is going to take more time to start with. So between your job and editing, and we take these for an hour or so in the morning, and one thing or another, just other, cleaning and whatever. It's, you know, women's jobs.
Yeah, hilarious. Michael
No.
is a lot cleaner and tidier than me.
Yeah.
You were going to say it doesn't take a lot though, weren't you? But yeah.
No. So that's basically that's how we live. I mean, in terms of surviving, paying the bills, etc. By the time we sold the two houses, we've done, you know, we were kind of, you know, we made money on the boat, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we've ended up here, buying this place, having no mortgage, and also having a good sum in the bank to get us a long way down the line with this, haven't we?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, in theory, you never know what's going to happen. But
I mean, I think labour's obviously a huge cost, and we're going to have to
I'm
get
cheap.
some. You know.
I'm really cheap. No, seriously. But,
no, and I think obviously we're going to have to get certain people in to do, you know, electrics and at least guide somewhere along the way, but most of it will be done by your fair hands.
I hope so. I mean, even as we sort of sit here now, the electric side I don't know much about, but I would like to learn. So, you know, even if I don't do the real kind of the sort of important parts, the main technical parts, if I can you know, put the sort of the wiring in the sockets and junction boxes and all the rest of it, and bring it all back to the, you know, the main box thing.
Michael's very, very practical, and aren't you? I think like his mind is just wired up totally different to mine, isn't it? You know, I don't see things.
Whose isn't?
I'm not very practical at all. I'll be doing something sometimes and I'm like, why don't you do it like this, love? And, oh yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Michael's just very, you know, you were a mechanic, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a mechanic, so I suppose I've got a mechanical background, and you know, I learnt from my dad. I wasn't you know, didn't go through college or anything. It was on the job from being 16, 17. You know, my dad was a very, very good mechanic, and not only, well, he is still working, bless him, he's nearly 70. But he loves his job, you know, so that's fine. But not only that, he's self-built 2 houses, and converted flats, and you know, done all sorts of stuff. So he's, you know, and although I've never got involved, because I've always said, oh no, DIY, no, I'm not interested, I'll get somebody to do it. You know, you kind of take note and seen how he's gone about stuff. And so hopefully, you know, we'll get on okay. But
I mean, there's going to be things, isn't there? Of course there is. You know, there always is.
It's a big project. It's not. You know, it's not to be taken lightly at all, and we're not at all. We're going to take us time, and you know, somebody said to me the other day, you probably spend a lot of time just standing and looking at a job and thinking, well, you know, how we're going to do this. And he's right. I mean, my dad was always a bit like that. He would. My mum always used to say that your dad will always think of a way to do it. It might take him time, but he'll do it, and he does. So hopefully a little bit of that's rubbed off. But
I did find him here the other morning. Was it the other morning? I couldn't hear anything from the cabin, but I came round. I sat here drinking tea. I was like, what are you doing? It was the other afternoon. I haven't got time to be sat drinking tea.
Was I drinking tea?
I think so.
Oh, probably. Yeah, well.
I think you were thinking about your next move.
Well, yeah, I do. It's just nice to, you know, 10 minutes. You know, I like to sit here.
I am joking. I won't. I don't crack the whip, do I?
No, I wouldn't be sat here.
No.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's nice just to have, you know, 10 minutes and sort of sit here or whatever, and just kind of think about what you've got to do. You know, clear head and one thing and another, but we'll get there. We'll see. It's all good fun. We're enjoying it, aren't we? We're looking forward to it. And even though we've not given any kind of time scale,
Yeah.
well, we sort of said 2-3 years, whatever. There's no pressure. There's no deadline.
We didn't want that. We want to enjoy it as much as possible. There's going to be days when we don't enjoy it. But yeah, I think as soon as you start saying we're going to be here then, we're going to have done this then, it just starts to get too stressful. Things change.
And
there is no rush, is there? I mean,
no, there isn't. But you know, it's like we've been doing most days. You know, we're coming over and doing 6-7 hours. You know, so the thing's moving on, and we'll continue to do that because it still feels like, you know, we're doing it in our own time, and it's not under any pressure or one thing or another. It's, you know, enjoying the process, getting out of bed and coming over here and, you know, doing a bit of work. So hopefully it'll remain that way.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says, well, it's a big test of your relationship and stuff, and maybe it will be.
Well, yeah.
But I don't think either of us are that, you know, we're not, I don't know, like I say, I won't crack the whip, and I'm not going to get stressed out with Michael if things aren't moving as fast as we hoped, and we're just not, I don't know, we're not that kind of...
Well, no, we're not really. No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, we've been together 10.5 years. This is not, as they say, this is not our first rodeo. It's our first renovation, definitely. No.
yeah.
But might be our last. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll yeah. It's all good so far, really.
Yeah.
We've got the winter to come, so...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, we're saying, oh, there's no pressure. We're quite happy in the cabin. We've been in there 2 months.
2.5 months.
2.5 months. And obviously it's been summer. So,
I mean, we've had a little bit of a glimpse of winter. This last couple of weeks we've had very mixed weather, really stormy weather, a lot of thunder, lightning, and quite a lot of rain, particularly today. Today's been the worst, hasn't it? Been quite heavy most of the day, so you're getting a feel for the space around you and walking through the garden and stuff, and muddy, and 1 or 2 leaks in the lodge, which we
not bad.
No, but I mean, I knew that, you know, the ridge tails need sorting. You can see daylight through them, which we knew about, but we weren't bothered because it was July, August, so, you know, Portugal doesn't get any rain during the summer. It literally doesn't. You get 4 months of nothing, generally. And again, after today, I think it's due to clear up again for another couple of weeks at least. So, but it was on my to-do list to do the roof.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Won't we?
Yeah. It's an adventure.
So what was that question? That was money.
Oh yeah, kind of, I suppose, and who's doing the work, or what the work situation is.
That was the cost of it, and then it moved on to something
I think
completely else.
maybe if anyone has questions and they want to pop them in their comments, then we could potentially do another one of these if it's stuff that we really haven't covered.
Yeah, absolutely. This is.
I mean, I suppose maybe what are our plans for this place? We kind of went through that in the tours, didn't we? A bit, you know.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I think, you know, everybody can walk around properties and say we're going to do this and we want this and that. But I think as you get going, you start opening spaces out, you start changing things, and suddenly you think, well, actually, no, I want to do something else. And it's kind of one of them comments that you hear on restoration programs and stuff like that. It's like, you know, the building will tell you what it wants. But I genuinely think with these old buildings, it's true. You know, you've got to work with it, because the spaces that you can't really alter, spaces that are always going to be difficult to kind of navigate and you know, make usable and one thing or another. You know, it's like the room that's directly below this. It drops down to such a low height, and there's going to be nothing we can do about that at the back.
No.
And it's just going to be a room that you know, you're probably just going to use for storage or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
so
it's like
we don't know.
The Adegas or whatever they are. They need a lot of thought because you know, we need to raise ceiling heights and all that sort of thing. So it's whether you do that.
And then they are underground, aren't they?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So there's the down.
You know, the full height of them is below ground. So.
I mean, we had some friends visit us the other day, Ian and Wayne, and they were saying they they're pet sitters, and they stayed in a place that it had a natural rock wall in the house, didn't they? And they said when it rains, the wall literally cries. And
So, you know,
they have a. Did you say it's like a French drain, or they have in the actual house in front of the wall to take the water away when it rains? And we were like, that's amazing, maybe we can do that. And then they said, yeah, but they've got dehumidifiers on
all the time.
all the time, and you know that's when it starts to. You don't want that, do you? You don't want that damp.
No, it wasn't a French drain, but it was just like they dug it out in front of the wall, just like a little stream, so it would take the water away. Which, you know,
Wonderful, doesn't it?
it would look wonderful, but like they said, it was just so damp.
I suppose you could do that if you don't use it as a living space. I mean, Michael used to play snooker, and I said we could use it as a snooker room for you. So you could have a crying wall in your snooker room.
Yeah, and I mean, the room's big enough. The room that we've got the barrels in, we're talking about downstairs. It's certainly big enough to get a proper table in, but because that room is going to be potentially damp, I didn't want to start explaining to Becky the concept of a snooker table and damp don't go together. It just doesn't. Anybody that knows, you know, anything remotely about snooker and damp will get it.
Doesn't work. No, right. So no, not a snooker
But no,
room.
it was a good idea, and you know, what we're going to do, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff over the winter, but we're not going to touch. We're not going to touch the roof, and we're not going to touch downstairs, because I want to see what is happening in the rooms below over the winter. I want to see sort of how damp they get, what sort of water ingress we get, or whatever, and then we can go from there. Because if we start doing anything now, without knowing what's happening, you could end up having to kind of completely redo what you're doing. So,
I mean, we have had, like Michael said, today has been really heavy rain, and in one of the rooms in the outbuilding we're living in, there's literally a rock pool, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where it's come from. It
could have come
through
the
the ceiling.
But you know, it's just these kind of things, though, isn't it? If it hasn't, and it is coming.
We need to basically just clear the downstairs rooms of everything, and just monitor what's happening, and then take it from there really, and look at everything next year. The plan will be to beginning of next year, or just after the winter, is to look at getting the roof sorted, and look at getting the floor joist sorted in the house, and then go from there really. So those are the big jobs. So kind of, remainder of the year, lots of bits and pieces like we've been doing really.
Which no one knows about.
No
one knows about that yet.
About what?
This room, which I'm not going to show you.
Oh no, because this is going out first, isn't it? Yeah.
Michael's been working on I keep calling it the pizza oven room, that's not the bread oven room. It's amazing. So I think that's going to be the first renovation video really. Although I think some people are going to want to know about the supporting wall, there isn't a supporting wall. I know.
Well, I tell you what I'll do. Right, we'll do a video or vlog, whatever they are. Is it a vlog?
Yeah, well
done. Right, vlog. There you go.
That sounded patronising, didn't it? Sorry.
Literally about the supporting wall, and we'll go downstairs and show you the wall that I said was supporting the wall that was supporting the roof pillar, which it isn't.
Yeah, we'll explain all
and we'll
that
do
as
it.
well. Yeah, definitely. But
So you'll understand why I thought it was, and
it makes your theory makes more sense than what's actually.
It does, but then I'll show you what is supporting the actual sort of main centre support of the roof, which is kind of creating another problem for opening out the whole space upstairs, which we wanted to do. We wanted to take out every wall that was upstairs, and then at one end or in one corner put some fresh walls up as a bedroom and an ensuite, and then have the rest of it as just an open plan kitchen and living room, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but with how it's configured and how
I think
the roof structure supported, I'm going to have to just think about it a bit, really. Just go and do what I said earlier, look at it and think about it.
have a cup of tea.
A cup of tea, yeah.
No, I think style wise, we want everything very traditional, don't we? Yeah, we love antiques, and the old building is always, you know, what we would have gone for. As you've all seen in the pictures of the houses we've lived in.
Yeah.
We don't do modern.
Yeah, I mean everything will be kind of, you know, sort of authentic. You know, it will be, you know, antiques. It will be old furniture. That, you know, we've talked about like a freestanding kitchen, and freestanding furniture, and it will all be old. It'll all be antique and original pieces. The look we like is
Very
completely
rustic.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very rustic. I've
Same.
got this kind of picture in my head of the kitchen and everything.
Shall we wrap this up then for tonight?
I think so.
I don't think we need to talk about anything else for now.
No, like I say, if people want to know
Yeah,
anything else,
absolutely.
so we
Yeah.
can do another.
Yeah,
If
I mean,
people might be just like, oh God, shut up.
Yeah.
You know, just
We've
go
done
and
this just.
eat your crisps and
Oh no, but just questions we think that people want to ask, and
I think we've obviously watched a lot of YouTube channels and got a lot from them and love watching various people. And I think it's nice to know a bit about the people you're watching, because you're following someone's journey, and it's quite kind of, as much as this isn't going to be like a personal vlog, is it? Although I was looking at videos the other day, going through the SIM card, and Michael sat there telling everybody about an argument we had because a coffee got spilled, and it was technically my fault, but it was kind of Michael's. And I was like, I'm not putting this in. People don't want to go. Anyway, yeah, so I think that's why we wanted to kind of like, this is who we are, this is what we're doing.
yeah, I just thought it was, you know, it was like, look, this is us. We're real
No, but-
people.
Yeah,
We have
we
hard
argue
arguments.
over coffee, spilt coffee.
I'll
Yeah.
admit on camera that I went over the top.
Yeah. Basically had a tantrum. And he's 50
It was
soon.
extenuating, eh?
I said you're 50 soon. It was like a 5-year-old. Oh dear, anyway, yeah.
But anyway, that's enough for now, I think, and yeah,
Yeah.
we shall see you another time.
We'll see you for the first renovation video next.
Yes.
Which is exciting. Hopefully.
Well, it'll be as exciting as your editing can make it.
Well, it depends. I haven't been involved in this at all, and I've no idea what you've been waffling on at. I've got loads of videos to go through to try and put it all together.
There is a lot, yeah, and I'm sure I've forgotten about most of them.
Yeah. What you said? Oh, I told them. Said the other day this and that, and I was like, I'm gonna have to. Oh yeah, it's gonna take me weeks to go through all the videos.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the next video will be actual renovation.
Actual work. So, thank you for watching.
See you next week. I mean, antiques obviously come a bit more mainstream, trendy. More mainstream, trendy. Haven't they? You know, people have got that kind of look, haven't they? And that's not really us either. I think, you know, we're really. Do you know what I mean?
No. Do you? Oh dear.